Every 10 seconds, a Squirtle is abused. This leads to juvenile gang activity, depression, and general menace to society. This has to stop. For every like on this video, we can tell Mario to stop abusing these sweet little Squirtles and give them a better life. We must do this now, or else. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to find out if we can stop Mario from the abuse that he's been doing to Squirtle over there in Smash Brothers by getting a little revenge here in Pokemon. So we are going to play as Koopa. We're going to go up against our rival Mario. We're going to have a Junior Koopa Trooper going on today to see if it has a chance to beat the entire game. So, we are going to start by picking up our Squirtle. We're going to name it Junior Troopa in honor of a comment from Boss Kaio on the last video. And let's just see how this goes. Okay, and we can check out our Squirtle and see that we do in fact have 0 DVs on. And let's go ahead and get started. Here, Rival 1, not a trouble at all. I mean, yes, he can attack us a lot of times to take us out, but we get down to 1 HP, it's fine. He's just going to randomly choose between Tail Whip and attacking us. At Brock, we naturally get Bubble, so this is super easy. His Pokemon are just 2-hit KOs every time. We've already shown that in the Brock Minimum Battles series. Now, this is looking really easy until we get to the youngster just outside of Pewter City. The guy who talks about how shorts are super comfortable and easy to wear? Yeah, he's a trouble here. Why? Well, because his Rattata hits really hard, and he outspeeds us with Ekans, and he can get us in Wrap. So, funny enough, there is a strategy here. Bubble has a chance to lower the opponent's speed. If we can lower their speed, we can effectively save ourselves a hit in certain spots, and we can stop the Ekans from being able to lock us in a Wrap. So we're just waiting to get that kind of luck here. It takes tons of resets, but finally we get this run. We're using Bubble. In this one, once we get a speed drop, we change to Tackle because it's stronger. Same here, we're going for Bubble to try to stop the Ekans from being able to take us out. We can get lucky with things like misses. We can get lucky with things like just outspeeding it at that point, so yeah. Anyway, here in Mount Moon, we are picking up the Water Gun and the Mega Punch TMs because they're going to enable us to have a decent moveset going forward where we're not going to need that kind of luck against Team Rocket. Here against Team Rocket, we can go ahead and start by lowering the speed of Ekans with Bubble, then it's just changing into Water Gun and Mega Punch. Here against Meowth, we're really just hoping not to take a lot of bites. Bite is very strong at this point in the game. So here, let's try it again. We're going to use some Tail Whip into Mega Punch on the Ekans. We are going to use Water Gun to take out the Meowth. We get to Coughing with decent HP. And now we can go ahead and use a Tail Whip and some Mega Punches to get through. Not easy, but possible. Let's try Misty. Well, yeah, I tried this a bunch of times. It's really just not working at this point. She'll never use Water-type moves on us, but yeah. So now, Rival 2. Well, Rival 2 is also a grind. I debated maybe I have to use a rare candy here, but finally we are able to get a decent run. So basically, in order to get a good run here, what we need to do is we need to take out Spearow without taking too much damage. Then Sandshrew is just going to be a 2-hit KO with Water Gun. We need to avoid a Hyper Fang here. And then against Eevee, it really just comes down to luck and ranges. It's going to use Sand Attack on us a lot, but we finally managed to get through on this one. So with that done, we can go ahead and beat all the trainers on Nugget Bridge. And by the time we do, we're already at level 21. So I decided here, let's go back and fight Misty again. At this point, it's not as difficult. We're at a higher level. We've got Mega Punch. We actually learned Bite, which I learned over Bubble here. And we just basically need to get some critical hits or not take too many tackles. So there we get through. Now we can pick up the Bubble Beam TM, and it's time to keep moving on in our story. So with that out of the way, the last just before Bill's house could be Trolly with the Audishes, but we have Mega Punch. That lets us get through. Next to Rival 3. Rival 3 is really not as hard as Rival 2, because at this point, Sandshrew is the second to last Pokemon. Yeah, we can get taken out, but really, it's just, okay, go back the next time. Bubble Beam is so much stronger than Water Gun that as long as we don't get bad miss luck here, we can just get through that fight. So now we're going to pick up the Cut HM, and at this point I decided to go ahead and fight Lieutenant Surge. It's because he's so random. He can use Growl, Mega Punch, or Mega Kick most of the time. It's only a 1 in 4 chance that he's going to use Thunderbolt, and he also uses X Speed. And X Speed is just a wasted turn because he already outspeeds us. So here we go for Dig. Sure, we take a Mega Kick, but a couple digs, we take him down. So now it's on to Rock Tunnel, where there's not really too much interesting going on here. Like, the hiker's no trouble. The biggest thing is that here we get Withdraw after beating the second Pokemaniac. Withdraw will be on our moveset for the rest of the game because it's a bad boosting move. Here, we can now go fight Giovanni, and his Pokemon are super easy. We're a water type, we have Bubble Beam, we can just wreck his Onix and Rhyhorn and just get right through the Persian. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the Rocket timeline because we know Erica's going to be hard. So we go ahead and make our way to Lavender Tower. Marowak's no trouble. Team Rocket's also going to be no trouble. And Dig is super strong, 100 base power, ground type move. It's going to do just fine against all these poison types, even when we're poisoned. So we get through, we're going to save Mr. Fuji as usual, get our Pokeflute, and we can try to move on now. So we're going to go ahead and get to Rival 5, because again, Erica's not going to be that easy. Let's see how this goes. Well, Bubble Beam really isn't going to do that much against the Sandslash, and it can one-hit KO us with a critical hit slash. So maybe Ice Beam is the way to go, I was thinking. Try to freeze it? Well, it's a 2-hit KO there. But at least Ice Beam is a lot stronger than Bubble Beam. Okay, we get through, but next up, he has Cloister. And while yes, we can try to set up our defense on Cloister, Cloister is very hard to get through. It's got really high defense, so Dig doesn't do that much. And it's going to resist all of our other attacking moves. So I decided, you know what, this isn't working. Let's go fight Koga instead. Well, Koga outspeeds us. And his Venonats know Sleep Powder, a grass-type move. They're always going to use Sleep Powder because they think that it's super effective against us. But once Sleep Powder's set up, they change into moves like Psychic, Psybeam, Double Edge. So we're really just banking on a Sleep Powder miss to try to set up an Ice Beam. But that's not really a good strategy. It's just going to be a bunch of grinding, hoping that something misses here. So what can we do? Rival 5's not working, Koga's not working, and we know that Erica is not going to work. Well, yeah. What do we do? Double team or rare candies? We go ahead and just try Erica one time just to see. Ice Beam does freeze her, but this is after we've used all of our rare candies. So basically, we decided to use rare candies here because we're not getting through any of these fights. And for all the folks that think that I only win by using double team, well, rare candies were enough to get through Erica. That gets us some extra experience. Now we can go back down to Koga, where now we're able to get off an Ice Beam on the first Venonat. We can set up all of our withdraws. And now Dig does decent damage to these Pokemon. So we're able to get through that. Second Venonat does not know Sleep Powder, so we don't have to worry about that. Third one, we take a couple Sleep Powders. But as long as we can manage to get through, we've already got all our withdraws set up. Here we get a freeze yet again. And now against the Venomoth, freeze. That's stupid. That's stupid. I was sitting here laughing like an absolute lunatic when that happened. But hey, I'm going to take it because the only other option really is to use double team. So now we can go ahead and fight Blaine because fire type trainer, we should have an advantage. It's not perfectly consistent. We definitely needed that freeze there on the Ninetales. Ninetales can use flamethrower. It gets a lot of critical hits that will take us out. Here against Arcanine, we're really hoping for it to use moves like Reflect there. Reflect is great because it will give us a chance to freeze. Basically, every time we're just trying to get a freeze off on the Ninetales, set up our withdraws, and then move into using Surf in order to take these Pokemon down. Here against the Arcanine, again, we're going for a freeze. We get it this time, and that means that it's a guaranteed win. Basically, using freeze tactics is the best strategy that we have with Squirtle outside of getting double team. So, there we go. We've beaten Blaine. It's back to Rival 5. Let's see how this goes. Well, now we can take out his Sandslash, and we're going to set up our withdraws here on Cloister, of course. Once we get all our badge boosts in, we can change our strategy up to using Surf to try to get through this. Surf basically will allow us to do decent damage because its special is lower. Here, we're going to have to use Dig against the Magneton, Dig against Kadabra, and we're going to have to get very lucky here against the Flareon. We finally get a Surf off, and we get through it. That was stupid. But once we get through that, we can get to Giovanni, where Giovanni's not that hard. We can set up all our withdraws, just so that we have all our badge boosts in. Dig is perfectly fine against Nidorino. Here, Surf is one-hit KO on Rhyhorn. It's a two-hit KO on Nidoqueen, but that's perfectly fine. Next up is, of course, Sabrina. Sabrina, there's not much point in messing around. Just use Dig and try to take her Pokemon out as quickly as possible. We're not even really going to do a lot of setup, but here against Alakazam, our best strategy is to go for the freeze. That's right. We're relying on freeze luck throughout this entire run because that's the only way that we can get through with a Squirtle. It's completely stupid. Okay, so now it's on to Giovanni, where we actually have the moves to be able to get through. Yes, it's a very lucky freeze here on Persian, but you kind of know that that's my strategy here. Yeah, I'm going to go for freezes every chance I can get. Here against Nidoqueen and Nidoking, once we're all set up, Surf is perfectly fine. Same for Rhydon, it's always going to go down. So we have beaten all of the gym leaders, but we had to get really lucky to do it. Now we're up against Rival 6, and basically we want to take out Sandslash as quick as possible because it hits really hard. And we want to get through Execute as well. It can use Solar Beam, which gives us 2 turns to set up there. Now on Cloister, we want to set up all our withdraws and go into Surf. And now Magneton, we outspeed, we can Dig, but it's not a one-hit KO, we get paralyzed. That's fine, we get through Kadabra, and we are trying to get through the Flareon. There we go. So now we have to move on to the Elite Four, and the strategy that I settled on here was mimicking Rest from Dugong, so that we have a way to heal up. And we're going to set up all of our withdrawals here, and then we have to hope to get the luck to be able to dig it down. This is not like Pokemon Red and Blue, where there's a soft lock on Lorelei. She can use other attacks than just Rest against us. So we don't just get into the Rest loop there. So once we get through that, so basically we're just trying to get the right luck where we can take down the Dugong without having to use up all of our digs in the process. This is what takes the longest time, is trying to get through the Dugong. Here we finally got into Lapras, and we fail. So let's try again, and again, and again, and again, and again. So here, when we finally get a decent run against Lorelei, basically, we do everything that we said. We set up all of our withdrawals, we mimic Rest, and now we're just trying to dig this Dugong down. So we finally get through that, perfect, Next up, we're going to use Surf here. We're going to have to heal up because, of course, this Cloister can take us out with Spike Cannon. So once we wake up, fortunately, we have Withdraw set up so we can resist. Now we're hoping not to take a Psychic from the Slowbro. We get through that, great. Now we can go ahead and use Dig here on Jinx to get through. And now it's really just hoping that we can find a way through Lapras. So there are a lot of spots where we have to rest, but here basically we're going to go for Surf and Dig and just hope that we can get through this without knocking ourselves out or getting knocked out by a critical hit Body Slam. So this one is just a really, really long grind. And we also have to hope, of course, that she doesn't use a super potion when we get it to low health. So after we grind and grind and grind, and yes, we get a super potion, but we get off a couple more surfs, we finally get the luck to get through Lapras. Thank God. So this is the point where, hey guys, for this one, you're saving between Elite Four members. There's no way that you're doing this all in one go, because the luck just to get through Lorelei is ridiculous. Against Bruno, though, he's a piece of cake. We have super effective moves against Onyx, so we can just set up all our withdraws. And once we get on to Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, no problem. And we can get all the way through the Machamp, really no trouble. Next up, Agatha. Agatha is super, super trolly, as she usually is. She can use Mega Drain, which absolutely wrecks us. She can use Lick, which absolutely wrecks us. Basically, what we need is to be able to set up all of our digs on these Pokemon in order to get through. Yeah, we can change, in this case, to a Surf when we're fighting the Golbat, but otherwise, we're just using Dig over and over and over again. Dig is OP against Agatha because ghosts have very poor defense. Next up, Lance. Lance is really hard. We are banking completely on getting a freeze on the Gyarados. No freeze on the Gyarados basically means this one's impossible, guys, because Dragon Rage, Hyper Beam, they're going to do enough damage to us to take us down. So after we get the Gyarados down into the range, now we can go ahead and surf it down. After that, this is all about Blizzard. Blizzard, Blizzard, Blizzard. Yeah, we can use Surf on Aerodactyl. It's going to be a couple of Blizzards to take out the Dragonite, but we finally managed to get through. Again, we've gotten all that luck. I'm saving right here, and we're going into the champion. The champion is an absolute troll / Earthquake. Poison Sting, which sometimes poisons us, and Fury Swipes can all absolutely wreck our little Squirtle. Then once we get through that, Alakazam knows Psychic and Psybeam, which are basically guaranteed KOs on us. Here, we have to get a freeze on Exeggutor after we get through that, and this is where we're going to now try to take this down after we get all our setup done, and Magneton outspeeds because we level up. The champion's not happening right there with that strategy, guys. So I have to go back, and it's time to gamble at the Pachinko until we can get ourselves the Substitute TM. I had to do the whole run over again because of this, but there are some good points to getting Substitute. Substitute is basically going to allow us to get through some of these battles without needing to use our rare candies. So now we can go back and fight Rival 5 with a Substitute, and he becomes much easier. No rare candies, 7 levels lower. We can get through this fight now because Cloister is guaranteed to just use Supersonic on us every turn. So basically, once we have the Substitute set up, we can get through that. That means that we can get more levels, more experience. And now once we go up against Agatha, I don't know why I didn't just mimic Substitute here, but Substitute makes her an absolute cakewalk because all of her Pokemon have terrible moves. And basically, things like Confusion, Hypnosis, Toxic, they're not going to affect us when we're behind a Substitute. So we can just dig these Pokemon down. Yeah, we can take a lucky Mega Drain or something like that, but she's more likely to just use a lot of trolly moves on us, and we can take advantage. So there we go, we are through Agatha. And now it's time to go ahead and try our hand against Lance. We have this new substitute strategy. How will this work? Well, of course, we still want to get a Blizzard off on the Gyarados. Hopefully get it frozen. But look, I reset here tons of times. And this just really isn't happening because we don't have a badge boosting move anymore. And badge boosts are what we needed. So I had to go through the game again, where we finally get to the end with the same moveset, but this time we're able to get here at a higher level by using the substitute strats earlier in the game against Rival 5. Here, we can finally get an insanely lucky run where we don't level up just before Magneton, so we can take it down. Cloister is going to be very lucky every time though. So we have to do this again, where again, the strategy is to take down the Sandslash as quick as possible, take out Alakazam as quick as possible. We need a freeze here on the Exeggutor, which is why I was sitting here resetting for hours and hours on end. Then we can get set up outspeed, and Magneton's actually a range there. We can fail to take out the Magneton in one hit. Critical hits are not good for us there. But here we finally get a run where we get through with decent health. We're all the way to Flareon, and there we go. We have beaten the game with an incredibly lucky strategy. Am I satisfied with this? No. So it's time to do one more strategy, the one that I know that everybody's going to be angry about, and that is the double team strat. That's right. But before we use double team, I need to explain a little bit about the badge boost glitch. You see, the badge boost glitch stacks on top of itself, meaning that you're not limited to just having 6 badge boosts. Oh no, you can get 12 badge boosts by using double team together with withdraw. That means that we are effectively becoming like 4 times our original level when you think about damage calculations. This is ridiculous, folks, and it allows us to completely break the game. What this also means is that we can get new badge boosts after we level up. Now with double team setup, we're able to get through all of the rivals' Pokemon very, very easily, and here, even though we leveled up on Magneton, we have double team setup, which means now we can use withdraw in order to get some badge boosts, and we can surf this Pokemon down. We can set up the rest of our withdraws here on the Cloister, and basically, even with Leech Seed on us at this point, we are able to surf it down in reasonable time and get back to Flareon, where now we are going to have a perfectly fine chance of taking it down. And there we go. We have beaten the rival a couple of ways. Once by getting to a higher level and getting incredibly lucky, once by just beating it with double team strats. So finally, here we are with our Junior Trooper up against Mewtwo, where we are going to freeze it, and once it's frozen, it's a guaranteed win. So, how did we do? Well, Squirtle is a Pokemon that I'm really not sure whether I should say that it passes this challenge or not. Because technically, if we are fine with using double team, there's nothing wrong with this strategy. Using double team together with withdraw basically allows us to wreck the game, because even when we level up mid-battle, we can just get new badge boosts. And double team basically handles our key problem, which is trying to get a miss from the Magneton. That being said, in this one, it feels a lot more like we're using double team purely for the misses, purely to make it so that we can get enough turns to get through. If you contrast that with, for example, the Bulbasaur run, where double team was being used with Toxic and Leech Seed in order to make it so that we could heal up every turn, for example, or compare that to the Ponyta run, where double team was being set up, but the real strategy was Fire Spin Toxic, it feels a little bit to me like maybe this Squirtle run isn't in the same vein as those. And The only other option is to wait to get insanely lucky. The substitute strat, I tried it, but once we got to Lance, the substitute strat completely broke down. And you might say, well, what about just double team? Of course, I tried just double team, and it failed here at the champion as well. So really, neither of these are good strats. The only strat I could find that worked was withdraw and double team on the same Squirtle. Then you can get a fairly consistent run, but maybe people feel like that's not fair. Maybe that people feel like that's not consistent enough. But obviously, the best strategy would be even all the way back at Erica in Rival 5 to get substitute and double team, and your other moves would be dig and ice beam, which would effectively allow you to either rely on freeze luck or use dig for a strong physical move. It's a case where you actually really wouldn't want a water type move until you get to Blaine. And even then, Blaine and Giovanni, sure, use the water type move, forget Ice Beam, but once you get back to the Elite Four, you're going to have to learn Blizzard in order to get through Lance. So that does it for this one. Am I satisfied? Not really. But hey, a win is a win is a win. So this is the point in the video where usually we would select our next Pokemon. But this week I have something a little special planned. You see, basically, I want to investigate a little more about Double Team, in the sense that people say that it's completely broken, it's unacceptable, you're just trying to get lucky. But I think there's a strategy that is accepted by the community, it's certainly been used in other runners' runs, that basically is an analog for Double Team. That is the sleep plus badge boost glitch strat. And before you get in the comments saying, well, that sounds completely ridiculous, why would you ever do that? It's been used in other people's runs. J-Rose used it in his Bulbasaur run, and he used it in his Poliwag run to get the speed to take down the Aerodactyl. Now you might say, in both of those cases, oh, he didn't need the luck, he didn't have to guarantee that he outsped, but the fact of the matter is that he talks about, in both cases, how this Pokemon's really scary, and fortunately, he outspeeds them. In both cases, he used the badge boost glitch to make that possible. And he used Hypnosis, or Sleep Powder, in order to set up the badge boosts that he needed in order to do that. Even though they were done at the beginning of the battle, they were still affecting the battle at that point. That's the same as Double Team. If you set up Double Team on the first Pokemon, the effect of Double Team will still be there when you get to that point. So how could I test this? Well, I have an idea. I'm going to run a Bellsprout next week. And I'm going to run the Bellsprout in a bit of a versus race, something kind of similar to what Scott's Thoughts has done. But in this case, the difference between the two will be that one Bellsprout will be using Double Team the entire game, and the second Bellsprout will be using Growth together with Sleep Powder. The two Pokemon will be banned from using the other moves. So Growth and Sleep Powder Bellsprout cannot use Double Team. Double Team Bellsprout cannot use Growth and Sleep Powder. We're also going to balance this by trying to use only physical attacks, with one exception, Razor Leaf. Razor Leaf is a grass-type move, but it's a high critical hit chance move, meaning that the difference in special stat that's caused by Growth will be minimized by using that move, because every time we get a critical hit, all those growths don't matter. That will enable us to just see to what extent is Sleep affecting the battle versus Evasion. I think that it's going to be really interesting. I haven't done the run yet. I don't know. I might end up proving to myself that Double Team is the more broken move. But I think that these two are actually going to end up being pretty close. And the closer they are, the more interesting this becomes. So let's find out how that goes next week. If you have any suggestions or ideas or comments, just drop them down below. Now, that's the end of Squirtle. If you'd like to watch another run, you can see the Bulbasaur run right over here, where we took a Kanto starter and turned it into an absolute god. Or you can check out this video, where I beat the entire Elite Four at level 5 by using a good set of Pokemon and some incredibly broken strategies, but ones that I think even the most hardcore, hey, don't use cheap strategies folks would have to accept are pretty darn interesting. So check those out. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Later.